Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Cole.
Welcome to our home. Today, we want to go over Rogue One with you. So, if you're new, we thank you for joining us. We have some set questions we've kind of come up with. Cole's going to kind of lead the show there, and I'm just here to answer questions this week. I'm not going to try and lead any.
You're not going to lead at all.
No, I didn't say that. I said I'm not going to try and lead. So that's a different story. Glad to see those of you who've been able to log on. I'm sure there'll be a few less than normal. I know there was a online wedding today. I'm wearing my wedding attire for it. It was a Disney wedding, Star Wars and Disney themed. So hopefully y'all were able to make that if you were if you saw the live post. But congratulations to our friends who were able to get married. Mike and I'm not Mike. Lance and Michelle.
If Mike was getting married.
Yeah, Mike, if you got married again, there's a problem. But Lance and Michelle just got married today. And so if y'all are on the website and you see their posts, tell them congratulations. And
you're talking about
wish
Facebook.
them well.
You said website.
Oh, I'm sorry. Facebook. Yeah.
All
right. So let's go ahead and get started. How many of us here got to watch the movie this week? You know, sometimes we don't end up watching it. Like I missed a week one week and didn't get to watch the movie.
Perhaps the Newsies week.
The Newsies week, I did. I'm serious. But how many of us got to watch it this week? I did. I got to watch it twice this week alone.
I got to watch it twice.
And so, what about you guys? Did y'all get to watch it? Oh.
I haven't seen it in a couple of months. All right.
Well, Mike, you may be behind here on it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Before we get started, I did want to say that I appreciated. I did a pin trade with Andy recently, and they came in today of all days, May the 4th, and she sent some extra pins or an extra stuff with the pins. She sent the child or baby Yoda, however you want to call it, right here with this managing Mickey. I have it on good authority. This is probably going to end up on our car.
Yeah.
But this is super cool.
Yeah.
And then here's a golden one.
That one's a really cool
one. This one's super cool. And then here's a green one. Super cool. And so we appreciate that very much. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
It was very nice of you to send those. Going back to the movie, why don't you start us off with how you want to start the video?
All right. So first I thought I'd ask a few general questions you could ask about any movie. So what was y'all's favorite scene in the movie?
Favorite scene? Y'all comment your favorite scene and we'll read them. And then we'll talk about ours while y'all are writing your comments. Favorite scene in the movie? What was yours? Go ahead. You already have it ready. My favorite
is probably the scene where Curate and all them, they're hiding behind the big doors and people are shooting at them. And they're like, we have to get to this button. And then Curate goes out and walks in the middle of all the firepower, and none of them are able to shoot him. I'll go into a little bit more detail later on why I think that, but I like that scene. That's my favorite scene.
Mike Cross says Vader at the end, no doubt. And so I'm not sure if Andy was saying Vader at the end also. She wrote yes, no doubt. That was epic. And I don't know if she's saying the scene where you're talking about or what Mike's talking about. So you'll have to say Cole or Mike there so we'll know which one. But I thought that those scenes were both great. I'll be honest with you. I thought one of my favorite scenes was when...
She's agreeing with me, by the way.
Oh, okay. Was when Jen was... And this is not a big scene, but I just really liked this scene. When Cassian had ran ahead of her and shot that Imperial Guard, and then all the rest of them came and he ran back, and then Jen's over there and she whoops up on like 5 guys at one time with a stick.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was a real telling situation, because I think up till then he thought she was nobody, that she was just an extra in the situation that he was utilizing. But at that moment, you kind of see that Jen is legit a machine. You know, that Saw Gerrera had really done something with the training of her.
Yep.
Hey, Mike.
Lance.
Hey, Lance. Golly, is Mary Ann with us today?
I watched the wedding, so I understand that reference.
Glad you were able to make it. Lance has gotten married today, and he's on here with us. What a privilege! And so, congratulations, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
But that to me was a really neat scene and kind of a pivotal scene. I don't want to get into other scenes, but I liked a lot of times where scenes would play with each other. I liked the Vader scene at the end, and I liked the scene Cole's talking about.
Yeah.
But, for me, I felt like...
So, Lance and Michelle, we were asking, what are y'all's favorite scenes? Andy said, I saw a few similarities to Hunger Games. I don't know if y'all thought so. In a sense, yes. How I thought it was very realistic, like Hunger Games. I know that sounds ridiculous. Star Wars being realistic, but...
Well, this one I felt like is my favorite because everyone dies. So, spoiler alert if you didn't realize and you didn't watch, but
my
like
dad's
it.
Very stoic.
I like it because it's so realistic. Through a lot of the others, you have people who are alive, and they're alive through every single episode. But then you get to Rogue One, and all your key characters, your important people, you think that somebody's going to live in the end. And instead, every one of them die.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's probably more realistic than any other Star Wars to me, because how many sticky situations can you get into and be able to get out of in a lifetime?
It was very realistic in that manner, especially. But I just thought the movie in general was very realistic and very, I wouldn't say it's a stoic movie. Like 2000 Leagues Under the Sea, that's a stoic movie. It's a very hopeless movie. This movie
kind of leaves you hope. But this one leaves you with hope. The whole ending is about hope.
Literally, that was...
It's even said multiple times. That was the
last line of the movie.
Yeah, and it's spoken by Jen Erso and Leia.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
it's actually kind of...
I'm going to go back and re-say, I think also one of my other favorite scenes in the movie is when they blow the planet up there, and the beam shoots across, and of course it hits
Krennic,
yeah, because it just blasts him straight across the front of that building, that tower. And so to me that was a very good scene also.
All right, so they Andy and Mike said it was important for them to sacrifice themselves. Mm-hmm. And then Mike said, plus they had to kill them off because they weren't in the original trilogy. I actually disagree with that idea. I think they could have worked around it. Just like The Mandalorian wasn't in the original series, I think they could have worked around it. But I do agree it was important for them to die.
Right.
It's almost like the theme of the movie was...
Well,
whenever...
It really sets the stage for the fourth movie.
Yeah.
Which is something we're going to talk about later, I feel like. Yeah. But it sets the stage for it because you realize, it's such a passing moment when the fourth movie's going and it says lots of people died so we could have this information. And that's all that's said about it. But then when you've watched this movie and you hear that line in that movie, you're like, oh, yeah, lots of people did die. And important people.
It's almost kind of like a testament to how much we take for granted little lines like that.
Yeah. That's why I liked that type of a moment where it fed in so well.
I really did like a lot of the things that this movie does with the Star Wars franchise, and we'll go into that later. But Lance said my favorite scene is whenever she dresses up as a trooper.
Yeah.
Andy said, congrats, Lance. And then Lance said, thank you. Mike said, freedom takes sacrifice.
That's right. We forget that in our country. We really do.
We really do.
And so.
All right. So, what was your least favorite scene?
Oh, least favorite scene.
This is my dad's. I bet you this is in your top 10 favorite movies. I know it's your number one favorite, Star Wars.
I bet it's in my top 5 favorite movies.
I was gonna say. My least favorite scene. I'm going to be honest. My least favorite scene, and Mike, please don't stab me with a lightsaber. But my least favorite scene is whenever Krennic and Darth Vader are arguing with one another.
Oh, that one, yeah.
That's my least favorite scene in the movie because, well, I just don't think that they did Darth Vader justice in this scene. Darth Vader is a very get straight to the point, and in that scene I just felt like, what is that? What? We get an epic dad joke? Yeah. But Darth Vader's not a person who makes jokes, and he's not, I guess you could say he's not a cat person. He doesn't play with his food. He gets straight to the point and does whatever he needs to do.
I liked that scene. I don't know what he's talking about, but, it's okay for him to be different than me. That's your opinion, yeah. Y'all comment what your favorite or what your least favorite scene is. Also, it'd be interesting to hear what everybody feels like is not a good scene in the movie. And it's okay if your scene that you think is the least favorite was my favorite or whatever, or Cole's favorite or something like that. That's okay.
Yeah.
We all have different tastes and different thoughts on that stuff. I mean, I've heard several people say they don't like the Darth Vader scene at the end because they feel like that was not the way episode 4 started.
Yeah, I mean,
and so I've heard that. So I mean, there's no wrong answer when it's your favorite or your least favorite.
And I even understand that mentality where they get that. I still don't say I dislike that scene. I still like it, but I think the Krennic fighting with Darth Vader was my least favorite scene.
Let me think here. A lot of people will say the beginning because it drags on for a long time.
I didn't like the opening scene. Mike said, "Why in the world do you land so far away from someone you're trying to take?"
I agree with that.
I mean, in a way, I understand that, but I've heard other people say about this movie, it's supposed to intimidate them. It was supposed to be like an intimidation tactic.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the opening monologue, and unlike most people, I actually like the slow progression of the beginning.
So Rogue One is a standalone movie?
Yeah, it can be. Or it can, I mean, if you watched it, I like to watch it right before episode 4, which we'll get into later on what everybody likes, but it can be a standalone. But I feel like the beginning of the movie has this slow progression. I guess because I'm a preacher, I think of it like preaching. If you start out hot and heavy, it's hard to keep the momentum all the way through the movie. But if you start out slow and you gradually build up and build up some more and then build up some more, and then you hit the end and you're just like at this huge moment. I mean, to me, that's Rogue One all the way. And so that's kind of the reason I like the movie so much. But I agree with Mike that opening scene is very odd that they land so far away and have that big walk-up moment. It's like they tried to be too slow about the start, to me.
Okay. I still agree with you guys. It's still a little too slow, but
the introduction was a little long.
I understand also, why they did it, is what
just
I'm
a touch too long.
Yeah.
They could have got to that point where he opens the hatch and Jen's down there, and that big moment where the Rogue One pops up on the screen, and you have the music that everybody knows to Rogue One, and the theme song, the theme music there, and you're just like, yes. Or at least I am. That's
actually, this isn't part of it. I'm just going to say it, though. I like the way the music is played out. It's almost like it's It's Star Wars, but it's not
But it's not Star Wars.
It's like it's almost sounding like the main theme where it goes da 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 da, and then you think,
but it's not.
Then it goes da 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 da.
I thought it was well done on that because they're very good cut and dry. That it's not part of the series.
It's like it's Star Wars, but it's not the Star Wars you've known.
Right. All right. What's your next question?
All right. What was your favorite line of the movie? My favorite.
Yeah, I agree,
it's
Mike.
Definitely Star Wars, but not the Skywalker saga.
That's exactly right.
Which is actually kind of ironic because that original da 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 da. Yeah, it was originally going to be Luke Skywalker's theme, but eventually they changed it to just be the Star Wars theme because, well, it's starting the prequels and everything else.
Andy said she's blind. She's not saying literally.
I get that.
Yeah. That's her favorite line, I guess. Really? I'm blind.
That is a good line in the movie.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? I know you know yours.
Favorite line in the movie.
I'm trying to think of.
That's one of the best.
It is one of the
I'll
best.
be honest.
Almost anything K2SO says is one of my favorite.
Congratulations, you're being rescued.
That was a good one.
That was fantastic.
Rebellions are built on hope is one of mine.
Yeah, I mean, for a serious line.
For a serious line,
I like the K2SO line when they're taking off, and he's just talked about the gun that she's got, and he's letting her keep it, and he's like, and K2SO's like, you're letting her keep it? Do you want to know the odds that she's going to use it against you? High, very high. I love that line.
K2SO is basically C-3PO if
on
he was
steroids.
Serious.
Yeah.
It's like if C-3PO was like PG-13.
Yeah. He was like very high. Or whenever he walks up after that scene I was talking about earlier, and she's just beat all them dudes down, and then she shoots that droid, and then he walks up and he was like, "Were you sure that wasn't me?"
She's like, "Of course."
Of course.
That was a good scene.
That was a good scene too.
All
right, next question.
So, who was your favorite character in the movie? K2SO, hands down for me. He's my favorite droid in all of Star Wars.
Favorite character in the movie never speaks.
What?
My favorite character in the movie never speaks.
The Force.
Nope.
I don't know.
Let's see if anybody can guess it. Y'all comment yours. Don't you do it. Y'all comment yours, and then I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
So favorite character in the movie.
All right.
I'll give you a chance. No, I'm not even going to give you one because I got to spoil it myself. And so yours was who?
Mine was K2SO.
K2SO. I'll give you my second one. My second favorite character in the movie is...
my second favorite was Chirrut.
Yeah, that's my second favorite.
That's my second favorite.
He's on the brink of... If I had to pick a real character, that would be my real character.
A real character? Who is the fake character?
Fake character is Boogala.
Of course it is.
Boogala.
That was your favorite line of the movie. Don't lie earlier.
That is my favorite line of the movie.
Is yours Borg Gullen? Andy H said Chirrut. Mom said Chirrut. Mike said Chirrut. He's a very, very good character.
And yes, Mike, that's it.
Did you say that around him or something?
I don't think so. Mike and I went to school together for a long time, though. He knows I'm a weird dude.
You are a weird dude. Oh, boy.
When you're not at Disney, you at least can act like you are.
He's the only character that doesn't talk.
That's right.
Yep.
But he tends to make one lose their mind.
Yeah. I thought that was... I'm sorry, Dad. He was one of my least favorite.
Who?
He was the weirdest character, in my opinion. Boogala.
Boogala. Saw Gerrera. I call my dog Saw Gerrera sometimes, don't I?
You do. I didn't realize that's who you were talking about.
That's another one of my favorites.
You actually call him Sugar Rare.
Yeah, because I call him Sugar Rads, Sugar Rare. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, what did you guys think of the villain?
Well, better question before we start. Who do you feel like the real villain in the movie was? Because there's more than one villain in this movie.
There is.
And so who do you feel like the villain was?
Biggest?
And then, tell us what you think about that villain. So who did you feel like the villain was in this movie, Cole? And then what did you think about that particular villain?
The Death Star. No. Probably Director Krennic, really. I mean, I know that's probably not who you're going to think, but I mean, I just thought he was the biggest villain. He was also the biggest crybaby, but who am I to judge?
Okay. I guess I would probably go along with that.
It's actually, his real name is Orson Krennic.
Yeah, I would go along with Director Krennic. Being the biggest villain.
Mike says
Tarkin was the one who did all the mean, dirtiest work.
The cleverest thing about him, I'll say this: the cleverest thing about him is he worked through Krennic and then he took all the credit for it.
The cleverest thing about him was he's been dead for a long time.
That was. We're gonna talk about the CGI about Tarkin. The CGI on Tarkin was great in my opinion.
It was pretty good, really.
I think Leia had better CGI. But
yeah, I agree with you, Mike. The dude has no compassion at all. At least with Krennic, you could see compassion or concern, care, or whatever you want to call it. He had some.
He cared about himself a little bit.
Well, he did care about himself, but he also, I mean, when he found out that, my brain just went blank. Jen's dad.
Yeah.
Was the one who, released that information. He didn't just shoot him, but he had like this bond with him. It was kind of odd. But
Mike said he was the same way in the Clone Wars. Tarkin. I've seen very little of the Clone Wars. I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't watched the final seasons yet.
I've not delved into the Clone Wars just because that's a rabbit hole I don't want to fall in and never crawl out of. There is a lot of them, and I don't want to get lost in that too. I mean, I get into the other Star Wars movies, and I think about how each line reflects against each thing. And man, if you drop the Clone Wars on me, it's going to be like.
Mom says just the dark side in general.
It is, and that's why we asked the question the way we asked it, which was, which one do you feel like is the biggest villain? And I'm with Cole on this. The movie itself paints Krennic to me to be the official bad guy of the movie. Yeah. Although I'm agreeing with Mike because
he was the
Tarkin is the worst of the two.
And I would agree with that.
But by the end of the movie, you're not hating Tarkin as much as you're hating Krennic in your thought process. You're not like, I hope she gets Krennic or I hope she gets Tarkin. You know what I'm saying? You're like, Tarkin, yes, pull the trigger and kill Krennic. I mean,
it's almost.
I hate to say that as a pastor, but that's kind of how you feel as a human. Is you want to see Krennic get what he deserves.
Yeah.
And taking all grace of Jesus Christ out of the scene. Hate to say that, but that's how our hearts think, and that's how we look at it, and we're just like, he's such an evil guy, that Krennic. And Tarkin, we know from other ones that he's evil too. Don't misunderstand me.
He's a bad guy. I said this last night. It's actually kind of scary that he's not even afraid of Darth Vader.
I know, right?
Darth Vader's like the scariest person in all of Star Wars. And he didn't even bat an eye.
I don't necessarily agree with that he's the scariest one in all of Star Wars, but he's pretty scary.
Maybe, what's his name? Darth Sidious is a pretty close one right up there with him.
Snoke was pretty scary too.
He died by Kylo Ren. You can argue it out with me, but
right.
I guarantee
What's
you
the next question?
Darth Vader would have won.
We're going to run people off.
All right. Yeah. Okay. What do you guys think of the significance of the title of the movie, Rogue One? I actually think it may have like a double meaning. Rogue One, as in at the very beginning, what's her name? Jyn Erso was rogue all on her own, and then by the end, she teams up with a bunch of people where they go as the name Rogue One.
Actually, the ship they stole, they named it Rogue One.
But they're a team. That's kind of like the whole idea. They're like the Rogue Ones.
Y'all comment what you think also. Read the question one more time.
All right. What do you guys think of the significance of the title? What do you think, Dad?
Lance says the first rebel.
Well, it's not the first rebel. If you see Han Solo, you actually see the first rebels at the very end of the film.
Yeah, maybe so. That's true.
These were the first real rebels, maybe. You could argue.
These were like rebels upon rebels. I mean, although Saw Gerrera was a rebel of rebels, you know, he broke from the alliance.
Yeah.
And so he went out to be his own rebel.
The extreme.
As far as my thoughts here on Rogue One, I liked the title. I felt like it was very fitting because as you're sailing into the final scenes of the movie, they board the ship and they're pulling away. And it was like this moment where the rebels were having to be rebels going to be rebels. Does that make sense? It was like this huge scene of, you know, being rebels all in every direction.
And I just realized an even bigger significance to the title. It was the very first
That's
movie.
right, Mike. They rebelled against the rebellion. That's where I'm trying to go with that.
Yeah. But I just realized another significance to the title. Rogue One, as in it was the first Star Wars movie that broke off from the Star Wars story as a whole.
Say that again?
Rogue One was the very first movie that broke off from the whole Star Wars trilogy, or what is it now? Saga? The Star Wars saga. It broke off. It is a Rogue One. As in it was the very first movie that went rogue.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. But definitely they rebelled against the rebellion, which is, I feel like, what the real meaning of that title was.
Yeah.
Because had they not, they would have never gotten the plans to the Death Star, and there would have never been any hope for A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
And that's kind of like it leads into that in scene because they said, what are we doing this on? Hope. Right,
and that's it. All right, next question.
Andy said also Jen's dad was also an undercover rogue member of an empire.
Yeah.
That's another good one.
Yeah.
There was a lot of going rogue in this movie.
Very true.
A very good point. All right, so
and Captain
also the guy who, what's his name?
Cassian.
With Bugala as well.
Yeah, well, Cassian was rogue also because he was told to kill Jen's dad, but then he went rogue and didn't.
Yeah. There's a bunch
of different opportunities for somebody to go rogue on their own.
Yeah. So,
and in fact, you know, just thinking about that, Cassian admits that there were lots of times he had to kill people and do bad things. Mm-hmm. And we get to see one of them. He shoots one of the guys in his own alliance.
All right.
Because, you know, they don't want to get caught.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of the characters and the setting? Did you guys think it fit well within the space concept?
So the idea there is, what do we think about the characters within the setting of outer space?
Yeah.
Does it fit within the main concept? There's no incongruencies is the idea here.
Yeah. I mean...
So what do you think? And what do y'all think? Comment while Cole's answering.
I mean, I thought it fit pretty well. Most of the characters. Yeah, basically. I thought some of the characters, I wish there were more of the alien type creatures in the movie, but I mean, there were still a pretty good amount of aliens in the movie, so I'm happy with it.
I'll tell you something I thought was kind of odd was, on Scarif, they shoot the base and it blows the whole thing up. The whole base of Scarif's gone. They shoot the holy city. I'm trying to think of what, Jeddah. So they shoot Jeddah and they tone it down. Don't misunderstand me. I get that concept. But then when it's all said and done, it was like not that big of a deal. A mining accident? That was a lot of damage for a mining accident.
The whole horizon had gone away.
I know.
What kind of mining accident?
I'm thinking to
Did
myself,
they hit like a kyber crystal and the whole planet exploded, or what?
Yeah, I'm thinking, how in the world? And that's another good point. If they're shooting a city that's got all those kyber crystals there, because the rebels had been stealing the kyber crystals, so there were still kyber crystals there. Wouldn't that have created an even bigger explosion?
Probably would have destroyed all of them. That is a weird. I never even realized that until you just said that. That is interesting. I thought they all fit well. It's a big galaxy. Yeah.
Mike says, I thought they all fit well. It's a big galaxy.
That's what I just said.
But I feel like those kind of things were a little bit, hadn't maybe been thought through quite enough or something.
Yeah.
We can pick it apart forever. I mean, why not? But
that makes the films even more fun to do. It's just like, why can't stormtroopers aim straight? Which I will talk about later.
Yeah.
All right. So, what was the most unrealistic scene of the movie to you?
The most unrealistic scene of the movie. Y'all comment. Write your comment in while me and Cole talk about it. The most unrealistic scene of the movie.
Yes.
What was yours?
Okay. I haven't figured mine out entirely, but I still think maybe that Darth Vader arguing with, what's his name? Krennic.
That's still yours?
I still think that's probably the most unrealistic scene. I mean, you're arguing with Darth Vader, who could easily kill you. And I mean, what would he need you for if all you do is, you're not even in charge of the Death Star anymore. You've done, your whole purpose is done, basically.
So I don't know if this is an unrealistic scene for me. Mine's just before that scene when he's flying in to Darth Vader's castle. I think they call it his castle, don't they?
They call it Darth Vader's castle. Disney has now deemed Darth Vader a Disney princess. I'm just kidding. It's not.
He's the Dark Princess?
Yeah, the Dark.
In that scene just before that, the old man goes in there, and I don't remember his name. I don't even know if it gives his name, but he goes in there and he announces that, Krennic has arrived, and Darth Vader's kind of in that capsule without his suit on and all that stuff.
That was a weird thing.
And I thought I remember seeing scenes like that in other.
There was one other
Star Wars movie. And I think it's episode 3.
It was episode. No, it's not episode 3. I mean, of course, you see him out of this suit because he was Anakin at the time. But it was episode 5 where he's talking to Darth Sidious.
But he was in that in episode 3 at the end also.
A little bit.
Because they had to kind of grow skin and stuff on him. But I felt like here's a guy who's put himself in this chamber to do whatever it does, regenerate cells or whatever. Whatever, rejuvenation of some sort. And so he's in this chamber and this other guy gets to come in. It's like this moment when Darth Vader's at his weakest, right?
Yeah.
At his most vulnerable state. And yet he's placed his trust in this old man.
That's true.
And I thought Darth Vader doesn't trust anyone. So to me, that seemed like a little bit of an unrealistic scene. But then at the same time, it was almost like a Batman and Alfred situation.
Alfred.
And so I was like, well, maybe not. I don't know. So I don't really know that that's a unrealistic scene or not. I guess you'd have to, in any life, you have to figure out someone to put trust in. You can't just go rogue your whole life all by yourself.
Rogue.
I know, that's why I did it. Pun intended.
I should have expected. Yeah. All right.
Outside of that,
I mean, I guess you could argue the whole scene where they blow up the planet with all the kyber crystals still inside it. You could argue that still. Especially with the mining accident excuse. Although, I guess you could argue that you could do that the same way you can argue anything. That nobody was there, at least. Not that many people were there to see it all happen, so.
Other than that, I guess that's probably my least. I mean, if I had to pick one, I think most of them are generally...
They're all pretty realistic.
Realistic, yeah. All right, next question. Unless you guys comment. If you comment, we'll read it.
All right. So, the last question, not the last question, but the last
in this
question in this section is, if there was going to be a spin-off of this movie, what character would you like the film to be centered around? And I don't know for certain, but I believe I've seen this even on Disney's website, that they're going to make a spin-off show on Disney Plus about Cassian.
I've never heard this, but I did see that they're going to put out a new Star Wars movie, and the guy who directed Mandalorian Season 1 is going to direct it, and he's actually going to be in part of the writing of it. But I don't know what it is. They didn't announce that. That was announced today. I guess probably about 8 hours ago now.
May the 4th be with you.
But y'all comment and tell us who your character would be if you wanted to see a spinoff.
Mike Cross said, "Yeah, you're right, Cole."
Yeah,
I thought I was.
We thought that, but
I was like, I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I know they're making a.
That'd be a dark movie.
I believe it's a show. It may.
It'll have to be dark though, because he does a lot of bad stuff.
Oh, he does a lot of bad stuff, but I really want to see more K2SO.
I'd probably like to see Saw Gerrera.
Oh, dude, that would be cool too.
That'd be a cool spinoff of Rogue One.
Or you get to see the cargo pilot, like how he's evil at first and then he changes over time.
I don't care to see that one.
Huh.
But Saw Gerrera, I'd like to see that one.
But if you guys were to make a spin-off movie of this, what character would you like to see? I would actually like to see Chariot.
Oh.
That would be a cool one.
Maybe.
Especially if you showed him like maybe in his younger years, because he was like one of the people who helped in the Jedi Temple.
You know what I never understood about that? So Chariot, however you pronounce it, he had this way with the Force, which we're going to get to later. But yet, and he was like Jedi mind thoughts, all this stuff centered around Jediism.
Yeah.
For lack of better terms. I know that's really a religion out there. If you guys are believing in Jediism, that's not real. But that is a real religion.
It is a major religion in Europe.
Yeah, it's a religion in Europe. But I never understood how Chariot's buddy, I think it's Baze.
Yeah.
He was not into the same like concept, but yet he was a guardian of the temple also.
I think he was more of a
guardian. I didn't understand
that.
I do too, really. But I never understood why he would be a guardian of the temple.
I don't understand
if he wasn't into Jedi.
This is weird.
Stuff.
Like Chariot starts to do the prayer thing where he's like praying to the Force.
Talking about at the end?
Yeah, no, whenever he's in the jail cell.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "You're praying?" I'm like, you should know this about him if you've been guarding him like this whole time.
You've been working with him all this time, and it's just that to me that's kind of
That's like if you and mom was like, "Wait, you're a Christian?"
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a Baptist.
Yeah, it'd be like my wife being like,
I've been going to this church.
You go to church? What? I don't understand that. It'd be like, my best friend saying, I didn't know you believed in Jesus. What?
Well, I mean, if you were new friends with them, maybe.
I said my best friend.
Yeah, that would be pretty weird.
Because they seem to be like that. I mean, throughout the whole movie, thick as thieves, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right. So she said backstory of Cassian is what
will be awesome.
Oh yeah, it will be awesome. I thought she was saying would be awesome.
show about Chirrut and Baze would be lots of fun. I would agree. That would be like a super cool show. Like, especially if you kind of like saw Baze, he like is guarding Chirrut throughout the show or movie, and he's like, and then Chirrut shows how awesome he is with like the bow staff and like the, what's it called, crossbow laser gun. I think Blaze has just fallen away, and I didn't understand the point of all the Jedi stuff.
And he didn't understand the point.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost as if it had brought them was a headache. Oh,
them was
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. That's probably, I could see that.
I could see it, like if he like lost his faith.
I could see that because they've just been,
they
had all that stuff taken. Yeah,
but it just seemed like he was like confused on, like, you pray to the Force. This guy's praying. It's just a little weird to me.
Yeah, maybe so. What's the next question?
So now we're going to specific questions about the movie. So what Star Wars questions did you guys find to be answered the best in this movie?
Yeah, this we felt like, and we may just be reaching here, but we felt like several Star Wars in general saga questions are summed up and answered within Rogue One.
If I were going to say what was my favorite thing about this movie, it was how they answered all sorts of questions and problems in the Star Wars franchise, but in a very serious manner. It wasn't just kind of like, my favorite thing, I'm just going to get into it right now, is how they answered why stormtroopers shoot bad. Even though in the movie, like in episode 4, they say that stormtroopers are really good aim. But why do they shoot bad in all Star Wars? Well, it's because basically, at least is what it seems to be, they don't specifically say it, but because the Force will not let them shoot straight. That's a very good answer in my opinion, and it explains a lot. But
what he's referencing here is he's paraphrasing large sections of the movie to get his answer there. But in just a simple one-liner here, it's when Chirrut says, "All things happen as the Force wills it," meaning that's why those guys miss.
Yeah,
I mean, in a simple statement.
Andy said, thanks for pointing that out. Cole and Mark and Lance, I almost called him Marcus. Lance said, I liked why the plans were stolen, how they got them. Yeah. And then Mike said, nah, they just can't see out of the helmets.
That's fine.
Lance,
I'm with you. I feel like it brought a lot more understanding of how you could have such a massive Death Star weapon and it be so simplistic to beat, so to speak. I felt like that was answered, like who would build that and leave such a vulnerable spot
on the outside of the ship?
Yeah, on a way that you could shoot it with a plane.
X-wing, the lowest of the low of all the planes.
I mean, who would do that? That's what we used to all think. But then you watch this and you're like, oh, I get it. They did it on purpose. It was a flaw built in the system. Mm-hmm. Makes a lot more sense. I felt like that was a good answered thing also.
Yeah, I will say this, though. I don't like the way the new Star Wars movies have talked about them shooting the how stormtroopers shoot, like the episode 8 and 9, because I make fun of that. And that's actually one of the few things I don't like about The Mandalorian is in the last episode, they make fun of stormtroopers not being able to shoot things, but this doesn't make sense why they wouldn't be able to shoot things. Something like a can. I get they're trying to make a joke out of it, but like when you get an answer like that that's so, I guess, so good, in my opinion, I don't want them to make fun of the old way of thinking of how the Force works, basically, or how stormtroopers shoot, if that makes any sense to anyone else.
He lost me. I phased out about midway through and started thinking about something else. That's terrible, isn't it? But it's true. I was thinking about what else this movie points out.
Yeah.
And there's more, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
There were all sorts of things like how they built the Death Star, how they made a giant laser that destroyed the planet. They literally took an entire planet's worth of kyber crystals, which make lightsabers, and put it into the Death Star.
Yep. And then I felt like they did a good job explaining where kyber crystals come from. Prior to that movie, I felt like it was kind of a mystery.
I mean,
you really didn't have a lot of talk about it in the mainline movies.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, well, I don't know where that comes from. But in this one, you find out it's from the hearts of stars, and in this situation, it was from this planet.
Mm-hmm.
They were taking it out of the temple.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, well, now I see how Kylo Ren could go and build himself a lightsaber, or how Ray and all of them can go do that. Well, they have to go to a star and, get it.
Yeah.
So it made more sense as to why some lightsabers are different than others. Also.
Makes sense to me, Cole, Mom said. All right. At least one person got me.
Good job.
Thank you.
Mom of the year right there. Mother's Day is just around the corner.
Yeah.
So for all of you who aren't prepared, you better get prepared. Here at my house, we do Mother's Day right. Let me show y'all.
We buy a lot of expensive things. And by we, I mean I pitch in $30 and Dad pitches in $1,000.
We went on and gave Tammy hers. Now, check that out. Got her a new Minnie Mouse bag.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the second question. What did you guys think of Darth Vader? We already know what Mike thinks about him. He likes him a lot. All right. What did you think of him? You guys already know.
Hold on. This will be tonight's giveaway, right, Tammy?
No.
You write yes if this is a giveaway, Tammy.
Imagine her. She accidentally writes
She's
yes.
like, no. That's a joke, everybody. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah.
I do what I can.
All right. So, what did you think of Darth Vader, Dad?
Darth Vader. I felt like his character was mainly on point. I do feel like he was a little weak, a little forgiving when he's normally not.
Yeah.
With that one scene that you were talking about. I didn't think it was a bad scene, but I felt like it was not quite.
Wayne says Michelle loves the purse.
Thanks. I'm so glad.
My birthday is next Tuesday. It's a combo gift.
Look, she's trying to out us, man.
I know.
That's what you do whenever your birthday and Mother's Day are side by side. Did you say your birthday is next Tuesday? I don't think that's right, baby.
Are you questioning your Mom on her day?
Your birthday is this Saturday, sweetheart.
Mom said, that's a no.
Let's see. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right.
One time Tammy forgot our anniversary, so I get to be wrong every now and then.
All right. So I'm going to ask the next question. Do you guys think
Tammy, your birthday is this Saturday, May the 9th.
All right. So should you watch this movie before episode 4?
You don't have to. You can watch episode 4 and never miss a lick of the stuff. But I feel like you get added bonuses.
Yeah.
That kind of ties into that last question.
Now the question is,
I feel like because of this movie, you really get a greater sense of understanding of how many people really had to die to get those plans for the Death Star. And where that came from.
Now, here's the question. Do you watch episode 4 by itself as it was intended, episode 4, 5, and 6, and then go back and watch this?
That's a question that will be debated for the ages.
I think that you're correct. I don't agree. I think that if you watch this movie first, you get added bonus.
But you don't have to.
But no, I don't think you have to. It's the same thing.
And if I was going to, because I've done this, if I was going to sit someone down new again to watch the Star Wars episodes, I would start at episode 4.
I don't know. Should
I've done it both ways.
you
And let me
started
tell
at
you.
Rogue One?
No, I've done it with
Oh,
episode 1. And I've done it both ways. And I'm going to tell you, episode 1 is really slow.
Oh, it's very slow.
And if you're not already a lover of Star Wars, you're going to die off of that one.
Andy H said I watched it before episode 4, so good. All right. I don't know. I still think that you could watch Rogue One first. Because
You could watch Rogue One before episode 4 for sure.
I even think possibly you could watch that movie first as like the very first Star Wars film you watch, especially like a younger person, maybe in their teens, and they could watch it, and I think they'd enjoy it more, maybe. But
I don't know.
Just me.
I don't know. Y'all comment and let us know what you think. Do you think that it would be better to watch episode 4 and then just go on, or Rogue One then episode 4? We're not even debating 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I'm not.
We're not bringing that up. But from episode 4, 5, and 6, or episode Rogue One, then 4, 5, and 6.
Andy said she's done, or they've done it both ways as well.
Yeah, I think I would probably sit somebody down and say Rogue One and then on, and then it won't leave you. You know, when you get to number 4, yeah, you'll know some of those answers, and then you get to number 4, and you think that a lot more people might die in the end.
Then it leaves you with more hope.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you think Curate is force sensitive, and if so, how much?
Oh, this is a big question because Disney themselves say no.
I don't believe it. I don't care what Disney says. I think that he is for sure force sensitive.
But what do y'all think? Do y'all think that Curate is force sensitive or a force user of some sort or not?
All right. So Andy H said, I watched the classics, but after watching Rogue One, I just had to jump into 4. Mom said Rogue One would definitely get you interested.
Yeah, we watched Rogue One last night. It would be wonderful just to watch episode 4 tonight to me. But I think my family's kind of set on watching episode 9 because it just came out today on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
So,
all right.
But going back to your question,
so
I think he was a force user.
I think he was a force user too.
I have no understanding how he could fight like he fought without the force.
I mean,
even beyond that, I mean, even if I gave that up and said yes, fine, he was just good with his ears because if you lose one sense, the rest of your senses pick up and take over. And I've heard the argument there.
But not only that, like that scene at the end where everyone's shooting at him, there's no way he could have heard anything.
That was my next statement. Is I don't know how you get past that scene. I don't know how you get past the scene where he walks right out there when every shot is hitting people, and yet he gets up, walks out there, slams the lever, starts to walk back, and then he gets hit.
Yeah.
But not till he accomplished the task at hand. And if you go back and you start looking at the movie, you see over and over and over these same type of things where you've got the pilot, the cargo pilot, who gets the transmission off, and then that they need to get that barrier broke, and then his plane gets blown up.
Yeah.
Or Cassian just gets there in the nick of time to save Jen's life, or Jen just gets all that stuff done. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's too many things like that just say the force does these things as the force wills.
But I have another argument. I just realized there's a character, and they even went out of their way to prove that this is canonical, as they featured one of the planes in this show. But in Disney's Rebels, they featured it in the movie. So you know that they're both connected. But in that show, there is a Jedi who is Darth Maul fights him and he cuts him in the eye and he goes blind. But he uses the Force to see things.
All right, how about this one for you? Since you're going that far, just staying in. I like to stay in the movie we're in. So Chariot is in the ship right after it's crashed on Endor, not Endu, Endor.
Yeah.
They've crashed.
Endor, but
what's it called?
I think it's Edu.
Is it Edu?
I think it's Edu.
So they crashed where Jin's dad's at.
Yeah.
And Jin has gone out to look for him. Cassian has gone out, or right before Jin goes out, Cassian's gone out, and he says to Jin, he says,
"The dark side."
Yeah.
There's a dark force around.
Is he a friend or a foe, kind of thing? And he said because he has the face of a friend, but the force is moving around him. Is about to go kill someone. And so how would he know that if he wasn't force sensitive at the least?
Yeah.
And so to me, that was like evidence within Rogue One that he's force sensitive.
Yeah.
I don't see how you get past that.
Mom said, she said, I feel like the movie leads you to believe he is a force user. So Andy said Chirrut was one with the force for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. But, Disney themselves come out and said he's not.
Well, they didn't necessarily say he's not. They said he's weak in the force.
I would say that he was as strong as a novice Jedi.
But I would agree with you on that.
I mean,
you barely see some Jedis fight that well at all. Luke Skywalker couldn't fight as well as Chirrut. And he was using a bow staff compared to a lightsaber. I
mean, later in Luke's life, he fights well. But
yeah, but still, Luke Skywalker is considered compared to him, even in his younger age of the Force, not as good.
Right. All right. What's your next question?
All right. What did you guys think of the dialogue of the movie? So, like the lines, how were they delivered, everything.
I thought the dialogue was great. There's so many memorable lines.
It really is.
I mean, I'm quoting the movie all the time. Of course, I watch it when I go work out or anything else. I'll just listen to it as I'm working out, and I'm just like, yes, I love this movie. That makes me willing to run. I don't jump rope.
Dad's doing the weights. I'm one with the force and the force with me.
That's right. That's right.
I'm one with the force and the force with me.
If I can't lift those barbells, I'm like, the force didn't will it. In all seriousness, I feel like that's so realistic with the force and the willing of it because, in our hearts as people, we know that God is sovereign. Mm-hmm. And that's how God operates. Is whatever he wills, he does. And I feel like that's why it seems so realistic to people, is because we recognize that about all sovereign God, that's how that works. And this is like taking God out of the equation. And there's this other thing called the force. And that's why we can grasp that concept, I feel like.
Yeah. All right. So you like the dialogue. I like the dialogue.
I love the dialogue.
Well. I thought the dialogue was really good. So what did you...
Especially K2SO. Favorite droid of all time.
Absolutely.
And I hate to disappoint people. I know there's lots of people who like C-3PO and all the BB-8 and R2-D2. And, hey, I love all those droids. Mm-hmm. But K2SO...
was just clever.
Yeah, I mean, it was just straightforward, funny.
It was funny,
clever.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like getting the raw.
It's like
speaking of a droid in no longer robotic terms because he spoke whatever came to his circuits.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny in that idea is because it's almost like they're making fun of people who were very snappy.
Yeah.
They're like, they just say whatever they think comes to their head.
Yeah.
She said Andy said the dialogue was true to Star Wars, also good humor.
Yeah, I agree.
They did a really good job with balancing humor, in my opinion. I think The Mandalorian does a similar good job with balancing humor with serious dialogue. I actually think that's a fault with the new trilogy. Is they lean too much on the humor side, especially in episode 8 and 9.
I hadn't thought about that.
But Mike Cross said, is he your favorite droid, Cole? Yes, very much so.
The other droid in Solo, we're just thinking about spinoffs here. That droid was also very humanistic.
She was very humanistic.
So
but
both the droids and the spin-offs have been very humanistic, but yet the droids throughout the normal shows are not.
yeah,
I thought that, I mean, that just hit me a couple seconds ago when I was thinking through all the droids, you know, and that was the way those were. I didn't like the droid on Solo at all.
no,
It was
not
very
at all.
awkward.
It's like
That whole Lando
two
Calrissian and the droid scene, and he loves her, and I just thought that was
That's
creepy.
not Lando. Think about that.
No.
Lando doesn't love droids.
Yeah, it was Lando.
I mean, I know Lando. I know in the movie he liked it, but that's not Lando's character.
Tammy says, I think K2SO was great, but my favorite is C3PO.
That's your opinion.
Hey, I'm with you. I like C3PO. I like BB-8, and I like R2-D2.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to say the three coolest droids of my childhood, well, BB-8's not in there because he wasn't there, but those other two are certainly the coolest droids. They were always cool to me, but K2SO is just funny.
Mike Crosswood, my favorite is Chopper from Star Wars Rebels. I've seen Chopper. I like Chopper. I don't like him as much as maybe C-3PO, R2-D2, K2SO, but I still like him.
And I didn't like Dio either.
Mike Cross and Andy had a cameo in Rogue One. I didn't see his cameo. I know that the ship is in the movie. I don't remember. I think it's called the Phantom, but I don't believe I remember seeing anything about the cameo.
When I first started collecting Star Wars pins, I almost just collected droids.
You did.
So if you ever see my Star Wars collection, there's more droids than anything else because I lean that direction. They are my favorite things about Star Wars.
Oh, it's the Ghost. I was close. The Phantom, the Ghost. They're the same thing, but just different words. All right.
Words are important.
That was the last question of
that section
of everything. There were no more questions. So, you guys have any final thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, there's final thought questions. You got 3 of them there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Never mind. He's got 3 more questions. Andy says R2 is my spirit animal. I like K2SO's human qualities, like you said, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you guys were to rate this film from 1 to 10, what would you guys rate this film as?
It's a 9.5.
I was actually going to say an 8. Close to an 8.5. It's a really good film, but
it's a 9.5 for me.
Yeah.
Y'all comment your ratings on it.
Andy says
a 9.
Bless you.
I like R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Mike's a solid 9.
A solid 9. So I never understood how R2-D2, I'm sorry, C-3PO, I mean, how C-3PO never recognized Vader, as his creator.
What scenes where there weren't that many scenes with C-3PO seeing Darth Vader, though?
Well, I mean, there were, though.
There were. There's one.
And Darth Vader never had a connection? I thought that was weird.
He probably just cut out C-3PO from his life in general.
He's like Padme and everything back.
Padme and his mother were the 2 things he cared about most.
And Luke, apparently.
But yeah, Luke. But that was because it was his child.
Your mother said a solid 9 also.
Yeah.
She didn't say solid, but
you just added that in.
I added that for emphasis.
All right. So would you recommend this film to a friend? Yeah, I would.
I have. And I will in the future.
Well, you don't know that.
No.
No, I'm saying what happens if you get hit by a car or something?
I mean,
not to be morbid, but
he's right. God willing, I will in the future.
All right. I would agree. I would recommend it to a friend. So, do you think you will watch this movie again anytime soon? I already know your answer.
Depending on soon, I probably won't watch it for a week or 2 at least, maybe a month, because I watched it twice this week.
I just meant like within a few years. Like when will
within
you watch
a year?
this?
Yes. Oh gosh, yes. I couldn't go a year without watching it. Did Lando wipe R2 so he didn't remember Vader?
I don't know why Lando will wipe R2. I mean, what would be the point in that?
Andy, that's a good question. I'd have to think that over.
And R2-D2, I don't think R2-D2 ever met up with him. It seems maybe the rebels wiped his memory because it would make sense because he was in correlation with.
So Mike wrote this. Let's go back. Mike wrote, that is why Vader kept Boba Fett from shooting at Chewbacca in Empire. He didn't want him to hit C-3PO.
That's right. I remember hearing that in one of the comics. I was listening to someone talk about the comics, and they said something about that.
Hey, y'all are pretty smart. I miss those things.
Well, I think it was in a comic, but I think he looked at him and it was just
y'all got me.
He remembered him building the
You
droid.
said that, and now I'm like, good stuff.
Because he said he felt bad for C-3PO because he took care of his mother for all the years he was gone, training to be a Jedi.
Nice.
So,
very nice.
Now R2, it would make sense if R2's memory was wiped by the rebels.
What about this? This one can't be off. I mean, I understand why they couldn't go back and reshoot the scene, but in episode 4, when R2 and C-3PO show up at Luke's house,
yeah,
that's kind of an odd thing, isn't it?
I mean,
well, wasn't that the same place that
it was the same place
that the mother was at? I mean, wouldn't C-3PO have known?
That would be weird. Although now that Andy says that, she meant C-3PO, but it would also make sense for R2 because he also went to that house at the same time, but it would also...
But not prior to that.
Yeah, he did. He went in episode 1.
Did he?
Yeah, because he was one of the few droids that was like...
Episode 1 is like scalded from my mind. It's so bad.
He tried all he could to forget all about it. I'll blame you on that.
I mean, even Darth Maul hardly even shows up after that.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
He shows up in
If you could get rid of Jar Jar, it would even be better. All right. What's the next thing?
Hold on. Before we move on, I heard a rumor. Now, this is not officially confirmed by Disney, but I hear that in the Obi-Wan film, they're going to bring Jar Jar back as an old man.
And that'd be a bad mistake.
No. It's not going to be just like that. He's not going to be like annoying like he was then. He's going to realize how annoying he was. He's going to realize he was the one who let the Empire fall, basically. And he's going to try and redeem himself through like a
Let's be
sacrifice.
Honest. The best thing about Jar Jar is the theory that he's really the Sith Dark Lord. That was the best thing of Jar Jar. Is all the theories about him being the Sith Dark Lord and how that would work.
Yeah. But I just heard that was a rumor.
I mean, almost as bad as Porgs. And we've got one. Sorry, Gerald. This is Gerald, Allison's shoulder Porg. He did some episodes with us when Allison couldn't. But let's go back to next week.
All right. So
overall, I feel like it's a great movie.
Overall.
Love it. Can't wait to watch more movies of that caliber.
All right. So next week is Mother's Day on that Sunday. So
since Sunday's Mother's Day, be a great day to watch a movie about good mamas. And so we've got some suggested movies we want y'all to vote on. And you can say, oh, here's what we want to do. So we're going to give you a list. And what we've done is tried to pick out movies with a major mother role within the movie.
Yeah.
And not all of them were good mothers.
Yeah.
But several of them are and several of them aren't. And so you can kind of go whichever way you want. If you want a bad mama, you can pick a bad mama. If you want a good mom, you can pick a good mom.
It sounds so weird when you say it that way.
That's why I said it that way. Told you I'm weird. Tammy says
they have come a long way in backstory movies.
Yeah.
They really have.
I think they have leagues of people writing them.
Rogue One is far superior to Episode 1 of Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. All right. So the first movie in that list is Brave.
Brave. I think, in my opinion, it's the best candidate for a mother-daughter movie.
Yeah, we picked it because it seemed like a movie that kind of took a mother and a daughter and brought them together.
That's the first one. The second one was Freaky Friday, another good one.
Which we feel like does the same thing.
Although there's 3 versions of it. You guys can vote for the 1976 version, the 2003 version, or the 2018. I think they're all pretty much...
I think the 2018 is probably the best one, but I don't know. Go with the next one is Cinderella
with the stepmother.
That's the girl with the bad mom, the bad stepmom that's mean to her.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. The next one is Tangled. Another
nice girl, bad mom. Technically, she has a great mom.
She has a good mom, but her
most of the movie is with a bad mom.
Yeah. Snow White, another bad mother.
Same thing.
The next one was The Incredibles. Because that's a good mom.
Yeah, great mom.
Dumbo. Another one. Although she's not in, for what I understand, I haven't watched it yet, but in Dumbo, she's not in all of the film, but she is a good mother when she is in the film.
The next one would be Bambi. Bambi's a mother and son. I mean, that's all that's there.
It's got the saddest mother scene in any Disney movie.
Most definitely.
And then Tarzan.
And then Tarzan. And the reason we picked Tarzan was...
now you guys can vote on...
No, what's
Tarzan's? Her name? I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
The big gorilla that raises Tarzan. I can't.
Yeah.
Raja? No.
No, Raja is not a mother.
I cannot think.
Andy said Freaky Friday is a funny one. I'm okay with anything.
All right. So
I'm going to write down Freaky Friday as...
All right.
Mom said
your
Tangled.
Mother says Tangled. So we've got a Tangled, a Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday.
And you guys keep commenting what you want. There's not a ton of us here. What do you want, Nicole?
I want Brave.
Allison said Tangled.
All right. Oh. Gosh. And what do you want, Dad?
I'll take... I'm on the fence between Tangled and Brave.
Tangled
I'm fine with either one.
Good.
I'm fine with either one. So let mine be a deciding factor. Lance says Mary Poppins Original.
Well.
So you can write that down. Mary Poppins Original.
I mean, okay. We're doing the...
And then that'll have 1. And then Michelle also says Mary Poppins Original. I get to be the deciding vote.
Mike, you want to choose between any of the movies?
Mike may have had to sign off.
Maybe.
All right.
Anyone wants
then
you got to choose between Tangled or Mary Poppins.
I mean, that's what it's kind of down to. And I'm going to sleep better at night if I choose what my wife chose. So I'm with Tangled.
Episode 9. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Actually, that was originally on our list.
We were going
to choose episode 9.
But then he said, let's just do a Mother's Day movie.
Yeah.
So we decided we just do...
Listen, if y'all want to do episode 9, that's fine too. I plan on watching it.
Wayne said, good choice on Tangled. You'd know that being a newly married man.
That's right, Lance. You better have chosen Mary Poppins. That's exactly right.
Tangled is the winner.
All right, any others right quick?
Real quick. I'm about to watch it and then go to bed. Okay. I think she's talking about episode 9.
Ah, nice.
I'll watch Tangled and episode 9.
There you go. I'm sure that's what's going to happen at our house this week.
We're just not going to watch Tangled and episode 9 at the same.
We're not going to watch them in the same night. That's for sure. I can't stay up that late. All right. Well, let's go with we have 3 votes for Tangled, so we'll do Tangled this week.
Yeah, Tangled will be next week's video.
All right. I had a pen that was a Mother's Day pen.
Was it really?
Yep, sure did.
I remember that pen.
It had her and her mother.
Which is?
Her real mother, not Mother Gothel.
Mother Gothel. That would be funny.
That's a good mom, right? Mother Gothel.
Great mom. A little flower.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. Next week, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to watch Tangled. Your mother says she's good with episode 9 also.
Oh.
So is that what everybody wants to do? Hey, we can hear the echo of your phone.
I'm good with episode 9.
Did more people want to watch episode 9?
More people wanted to watch Tangled. Andy said she could watch either episode 9 or the other one.
Andy says episode 9.
I say Tangled.
Allie still says Tangled, which would leave.
Riley says episode 9.
It would mean that one of us would have to choose. And if I were choosing, because I know I'll just get to watch both movies, I would choose Tangled as next week's episode.
All right.
Oh, no. Riley said episode 9. So
that's what
we'll just go episode 9. I'm sorry. So next week's episode will be episode 9 of Star Wars.
All right. So next week's movie, episode 9 of Star Wars. We'll write it down here. You can't change it after this, Cole.
Wait, someone said Tangled. No, I was kidding.
Lance said Tangled. All right, episode 9, since I've already written it in my phone. All right. He said for Michelle, too.
This is a pretty split issue.
Yeah. Here's what we'll do. We'll do episode 9, and then the next week on the...
Well, it would be better to do episode
18th.
9. Actually, it would be better if we did Tangled this week because... Mother's Day is coming up, and then we could do episode 9 the next week because there's nothing major going on.
We're just going to go with it like it sets. Episode 9, right? And then Tangled.
Okay.
So that's the next 2 weeks. What do y'all think about that?
Sure.
That suits everybody, I feel like. So this week will be episode 9. And then on today's the 4th. So that would be the 11th is episode 9. And then the 18th is Tangled. Is everybody good with that? Give me a thumbs up if you're good with it.
We could draw from a hat if we want.
Draw from a hat. You wrote Tangled on everything in the hat.
Riley asked when and what time. We always do ours at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
This is my
On
favorite.
everything, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Yeah.
It'll say 9 or
So if you haven't been joining us, tomorrow night we have a live stream. And in that live stream, we just kind of talk about generic things. Sometimes it's pins, sometimes it's parks, sometimes it's things related to the parks, hotels, different things like
What is
that. I don't know. Looks like a cat raising his hand. Must be for Allison.
I thought it was a pug. I literally can't tell what that is.
I can't tell either. It's too small on the screen. All right.
All right, so.
And so anyhow, tomorrow night we'll have a live stream. And then on Thursday, we have a pin trading video that we'll have out. And you guys can trade with us via chat during the video. And so this week is some super sweet pins. And so be sure and be here for that. That'll be a lot of fun. Y'all have a great evening. And until next time, from our house to yours. And before we sign off, congratulations once again to Lance and Michelle.
Yeah.
Or Mary Ann, whichever you're going by. Y'all have a great evening.
May the 4th be with you. She asked about your Instagram DM.